If you're using AI creative tools, the truth is you will create AI slop. It's part of the process, and in this video, I'm going to show you why you should embrace it as part of your creative process, but also how you can plot out your creative control in a way that allows you to produce higher quality work and avoid shipping AI slop, whether that's to social media or to clients. As a side story, a couple of weeks ago, I shipped an image to a client where the woman had 6 fingers, and I was absolutely mortified, especially because it was first draft of an end product. So I want to walk you through some lessons I've learned in terms of creating AI slop and why you need to embrace it, but also elements that you can include in your creative workflow to help you avoid shipping AI slop. So let's start with the truth nobody wants to say out loud. You're going to create AI slop. I have, and anyone who uses creative AI tools will. But that's not the problem. The problem is stopping at slop and trying to pass it off as finished work. Most people open an AI tool, type a lazy prompt, hit generate, and expect a perfectly art-directed, on-brand, and client-ready asset on the first go. And then they get weird hands or 6 fingers, in my case, soulless visuals, random styles, or generic mid-journey vibes. And they either try to sell that to the client, which kills trust, and in my case, it did, lesson learned, or they decide that AI just makes cheap looking stuff and they walk away. The gap isn't the tools themselves, depending on which tools you use. The gap is the creative control. So if you can get better at creative strategy, looking at the end goal of what you want to produce, and then step by step applying different tactics to produce higher quality work, you can avoid slop altogether. But before we jump into that, let's figure out what AI slop is. And in my opinion, AI slop is AI generated content with no human creative control. It's generic, unrefined, and disconnected from any strategy. It's soulless, and it shows in the story, visuals, and or the audio. And you've seen it 1,000 times. It's all over the internet. Sometimes it's engaging, it's interesting, but you can always tell when it is AI slop. There's no human intent. There's very little to no story, no constraints, no refinement, and no brand fit. And again, slop is part of the process. You're never going to build out an AI generated project without generating some form of slop. But you'll also generate slop when you explore ideas, when you test different looks and styles, and when you push weird directions. And again, that's all fine. It's part of the process. But it only becomes a problem when you confuse the exploration phase with the delivery phase. So why most AI work looks sloppy? Slop is a process problem, not a bad model problem. So instead of blaming the models for producing slop, take a step back and think of how you can improve your creative process to avoid producing slop. So the main reasons most AI work looks cheap is that you're prompting from a blank brain. You're often just asking the AI to do something for you instead of writing it down on a piece of paper. Brainstorming with your own mind instead of just relying on AI to do it for you. There's no creative brief. So you kind of just go and create this stuff without having any goals or particular elements in mind to produce higher quality work. You have low effort prompts, so you use make a product shot versus something much more detailed. There's zero art direction, so you treat it like a vending machine instead of a junior creative who you're trying to brief. And there's no finishing process, so you generate images or videos, you slap them together and you ship them. There's no upscaling or elements of refining the piece of work that you're creating. So the no AI slop workflow is human first, AI assisted. And this is the process I use to go from engaging my own creativity to using AI to develop better, higher quality work. So step one is start with the human strategy. So this is where you use a pen and paper, you write down what are the goals of the project, whether it's for client work or just a creative project that you're working on personally. So you think of, what are you trying to achieve? Who is this for? What's the angle or the story, and what formats do I need? From there, you turn that strategy into a creative brief. So this is where you start using tools or LLMs like ChatGPT. You feed in that context of, what are the goals of the project? What elements do you want to include? What themes do you want to speak to? And from there, you can start developing a shot list or a storyboard. And this should be a back and forth process with an LLM like ChatGPT to first figure out the direction or the roadmap of your creative project, then breaking it down into different scenes and building it from there, where there is specificity over what you're doing with each image or video and how it aligns with the overall project goal. I use FLORA to do this, so it allows me to build out an entire project on one canvas. And this is a real hack in terms of your creative workflow, because not only can you use different image or video models if one produces slop and you think another one might be able to improve on it, but it allows you to see a whole project in one space, which from the get-go allows you to avoid creating slop in a way that you can build out bit by bit different elements of your story in a way where quality is prioritized. So step 3 is design high quality prompts. And this is again where you can use a tool like ChatGPT. I would suggest starting with the images. If you're building a video, always start with the storyboard where you can get it on paper, share it with a client or whoever's involved in your project to first understand the images that you want to create and the stills. Get that to a high enough quality before moving to video. So to develop really high quality prompts, you want to look at things like the type of shot, the subject and the context, the camera and composition, the lighting and mood, the style references, and platform appropriate aspect ratio, depending where you want to share this. I've included a fairly basic but more detailed prompt than most people use. Again, use ChatGPT to really explain what you're looking to do, provide context, and ask it for a prompt that is more likely to produce exactly what you envision in your mind. So remember, slop in equals slop out. The less effort you put into your prompts and your overall strategy, the lower quality output you're going to end up with. So some of the rules is never ship first generations, always iterate until you can get it as close as possible to the end goal of your creative workflow. You give specific feedback and not try again. So if something doesn't come out right in a specific image, be as detailed as possible when explaining what needs to change or edited. And then treat a model like a junior creative. So as if you're explaining this to someone sitting next to you who can then go and fulfill those changes. And then again, coming back to FLORA, you can always adapt different pieces of work or nodes using images, video, or text. And then you need to polish, upscale, and package for clients. So once you've developed your image nodes and you have those laid out like a storyboard, you can then animate with video. And beyond that, you can then upscale using tools like Magnific or Topaz. Again, you can do this all within FLORA, where you're upgrading the quality of the visuals themselves. You're upscaling the size of the images and refining the specific details according to your creative brief. So you can do a visual quality pass. Again, this is zooming in on images and making sure all the details are correct. And then the technical brand pass. So in terms of formatting and brand consistency, in terms of colors, typography, and overall tone. And then also making sure all images are legible, clean, not distorted, and they don't have 6 fingers. Then ask yourself a brutally honest question. If I didn't tell you this was AI, would you assume a real team shot or designed this? And there's a bit of leeway in this because even now, no matter how high quality your AI outputs are, it's sometimes easy to tell that it is AI generated or at least AI assisted. So don't be too hard on yourself here. It's a process of developing a creative workflow that will get to the level of quality where you have shippable end results. Right down at the bottom here, I've included a no slop checklist. So you can either screenshot this or head down to the link below to check it out and see both the strategy in terms of the creative input that you put into the AI to develop your work, but also the specific tactics to do things like refine the images, get better prompts, and produce better work. So I hope this is useful. If you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the world of AI creativity and build your own one-person AI creative studio, head to escapism AI and sign up for my free newsletter. If you want to give FLORA a try yourself and develop a canvas that will be a big step towards avoiding AI slop, then check out FLORA. You can use the link below, and if you like it and decide to pay for it, you get 25% off. I hope this was useful. Comment down below if you have any other tactics for avoiding AI slop, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.